This is where the fun begins.
Clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose.
King Kong ain't got shit on me!
And here we go.
Welcome back to another episode of Realish. I'm your host, LJ.
I'm Derrick.
What's going on, bro?
Nothing much, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. And today on the podcast, we have a special guest, my longtime friend, my guy, Bruce. What's going on, bro?
What's up, LJ? How you doing? Derrick, always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, bro. Actually, he's our first guest.
No, we had Dwayne on.
That's right. You know what? I'm thinking of that as an extra episode. Did that count?
Yeah, kind of was. Yeah. That was actually, you're our first official guest.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, let's do this.
So listen, today we're basically just going to talk superhero stuff.
Yes, sir.
That's what we got on the docket today. But before we get into it, you guys have been good. How's life treating you guys?
You got me.
I'm doing just fine, man. You know, just staying quarantine, living that life, just trying to stay busy, man. You know.
Yeah.
You're essential though, right? So you're working, right?
Technically, yes and no. We're essential to work. We're not essential to be in the office right now, which is all right. So
okay.
I have been working from home, doing substance abuse groups from home and all that. So I really can't complain. It's been good.
Man, I'm gonna be completely honest. This is my dream job. Working from home. That's beautiful to me.
Where it's clean.
I ain't gotta worry about, man. I still use sanitizer like crazy in my own house, but when I'm at work, actually at my station, oh my God, man, I'm using sanitizer like almost every 30 minutes. It's ridiculous. My hands are dry as hell.
I'm glad you guys are doing good. So let's go ahead and hop in on our first subject of discussion today. You guys know this about me. I'm a big fan of the CW, the DC CW shows.
Oh yeah.
Arrow, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow. One I have not yet gotten into is Batwoman.
Yeah.
Tried. I didn't like it. It wasn't for me. I really wanted to like it because I do like the character. Stars Ruby Rose, but there was some big breaking news yesterday, and that is that Ruby Rose is exiting CW's Batwoman ahead of season 2. And CW has made a statement stating that they will be recasting the lead role of the show from season 2 and they're on. So the article here from Deadline states, this is a shocker. Ruby Rose, the star of CW's freshman drama series Batwoman, is leaving the Warner Brothers TV Berlanti Productions drama after one season. The series, which already has been renewed for a second season, will continue with the title role getting recast. I have made the very difficult decision to not return to Batwoman next season, Rose said in a statement. This was not a decision I made lightly, as I have the utmost respect for the cast, crew, and everyone involved with the show in both Vancouver and in Los Angeles. What do you guys think?
I'm only hoping. I never watched Batwoman either, but I am hoping that they don't do this like Aunt Viv on Fresh Prince. Where you just turn the TV on and it's just a different person in role. No explanation as to why. That's my only hope. Just kind of like tie it in somehow, some way. Let's just see something. I'll actually check it out just to see what they do.
Which they can do that with the Flash's storyline, how he's always fucking shit up and changing things.
See, there you go. There you go.
They can make it work, and I would hope they would, but doesn't mean they will. What do you think, Bruce?
Yeah.
I mean, it's first of all, it's the comic book world, which means it's the king of all cop-outs. You can do whatever you want, anytime you want. People die, you go to a new universe, they're alive there. You know, the Flash is going to spin the world around really, 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 really fast, and it's just going to change Butterfly dies and Ruby Rose is no longer Batwoman. So, but as far as the character itself goes, it it's another extension of Batman. You know what I mean? It's a relatively new character, especially as far as comic book characters go. The very Batwoman, if I'm not mistaken, her first appearance was like in '06 in the comics itself. Yeah. You're talking about a character like Batman who goes back to the early 1900s, back in the golden age of comics. Yeah. And she's essentially the female version of Batman. And just very similarly the way the extension of the Bat family goes. She works with him and she's got her own solo thing. The one thing I would want to add is I gave it a little bit of thought, and one actress I actually wouldn't mind seeing replace her. And I think I took like a whole multitude of factors into this. The first name that comes to mind is actually Nina Dobrev from the Vampire Diaries series. And first of all, obviously young, very attractive actress, very athletic. Another big thing that I think you need to take into account when recasting this character is you need to look at someone who can operate with a sense of duality. And she did that in the Vampire Diaries, playing both a good version of her character and an evil version. And similarly with the Batwoman character, similar to the Batman character, Bruce Wayne is different than Batman. It needs to be acted differently. And I think that she would be one good, potential replacement that might be able to showcase that.
Now, one thing the CW has said, and the production team for Batwoman, they said that they are going to make sure that whoever they cast to replace Ruby Rose will be a part of the LGBT community. They just want to follow suit with that because Ruby Rose is a lesbian and the character is also lesbian. So they want to they said it's important to them to keep that a factor. And just kind of thinking, I was trying to, maybe I'm just drawing a blank, but trying to think of lesbian or bisexual actresses who would fit the role in terms of looks, in terms of even acting ability. And that's not to take away from anybody, but it takes a certain type of actress to be able to, because it's kind of a dark role. I think I only saw the pilot of the show, and she's been through a shit ton, and I can't think of anybody. Like Nina Dobrev would be perfect, however, she's straight. So
the requirement is that the actual actress has to be LGBTQ?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I mean, I can understand it, but that's interesting.
I definitely understand the importance of it. I'm sorry, go ahead, Albert.
No, I was just going to say that, I mean, the point they're making on it is that there was a lot of young, maybe closeted or young lesbian women who were so inspired, not only by the character being a lesbian, but also the actress being a lesbian. And so they want to maintain that inspiration for the viewers, which I totally get and I respect. And I think that's awesome. But what were you going to say?
No, 100%. Everyone's looking for a hero, and everyone wants a hero that they can relate to. You know what I mean? Like growing up, and just for women in general, there's a bit of a shortage. You know what I mean? Because the fact of the matter is ever since we were kids, characters like Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Wolverine, the X-Men, even the X-Men had one or two female characters, and they weren't showcased as much as they could have been. So it was it's difficult for a lot of women to find that superhero that they most similarly identify with. For men, there's no shortage of it. So to go a step further, to talk about someone in the LGBTQ community looking for a superhero, Batwoman, when she came out in '06 in the comics, it was revolutionary that first of all, that her sexuality was so openly talked about and what it was. And, obviously, just as LGBTQ does, gets very mixed reviews, gets both positive and negative. And, the negative, of course, the important side of it. But the only name off the top of my head that comes to mind, and like me, I can't think of her name, but she played the Valkyrie in the Thor movies and the Avenger movies.
Tessa Thompson.
The one.
Yes.
She essentially took over the when she took over Asgard. She's another one who, in those movies showcased a really solid edge, very strong female role. I could see her taking over.
Is she a lesbian?
She did really well. Yes.
I didn't know.
I think she's bisexual.
I believe she's bisexual, but I do, not mistaken, she is active in the community.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's interesting.
And she's actually her and Brie Larson are basically campaigning for a Valkyrie Captain Marvel love story.
Oh. Okay.
I'm not a gigantic Captain Marvel fan personally, however.
I didn't like Captain Marvel at all.
I love Valkyrie.
Valkyrie is
I'll say
awesome.
this. I'll say this about Captain Marvel film. A lot of people were talking about how it's too feminist, but like Derrick, you and I talked about it. We're both feminists. Watching the film, I didn't think it. I didn't think it was too feminist. I honestly thought it was not as feminist as I expected it to be.
You know what?
In my opinion,
I actually thought that that scene in Endgame was probably the most feminine, agenda-led that I had seen in Marvel. So I didn't come away watching Captain Marvel as thinking it was too feminist. I thought it was just a balanced story from Captain Marvel's perspective. Wasn't a huge fan of the movie itself. Well, I should say the character, because I thought they could have done a little more. But I really don't know much about Captain Marvel to judge it like that.
I don't either. I think my view of it going in was like I would have rathered a Black Widow film, which we're getting
late.
we deserved a Black Widow film 8 years ago.
Yeah. Now I'll tell you what film I do want to see. Storm. I want to see a Storm film. That's why I am hoping and praying to God. Yeah, that's why I'm praying that they do Black Panther 2 the right way and introduce Storm in Black Panther 2 so we can see those two together. And then if Chadwick Boseman's going to go ahead and leave, which we all believe he's going to, bring Killmonger into that role. That to me that would just make it make sense.
On topic of the X-Men, the rumor mill has it that Wolverine is the father of Scarlet Witch, which I'm not following.
What?
Yeah, that's what the route the MCU is going.
I pray that's a rumor. That's dumb as hell. Why?
I don't.
Why?
Honestly, I want a younger-ish Wolverine. Say it again.
Of the twins, because remember, it's both Scarlet Witch and her brother who died in Age of Ultron.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, with her bad accent in Age of Ultron.
And they're Russian. So how are they going to factor that into the story? Wolverine's not Russian.
They dropped her accent right off that first movie, though. She hasn't been Russian since the first film.
That's true.
Since Age of Ultron.
That's true, but we still know her origin is Russia. So, like, how are they gonna do that?
Was it Russia or was it Ukraine?
Ukraine, yes, I know somewhere over there.
Whatever.
Yeah, I know it's one of those countries, but
that's one that I hope's not true because it just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. I don't, and I would bet that fans will actually be very vocal about that, because that doesn't tie into anything. Because are they now saying that she got her powers from Wolverine? Because Wolverine,
she's a mutant.
Wolverine, that's he did get his powers. He wasn't just born with powers. You know what I'm saying? So it just doesn't add up. I don't get that one. I'm not getting that one.
No, I mean, it does. Excuse me. It makes sense for the mutated X gene to be to be passed on. I mean, that's the very premise of human evolution.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. That sounds like you're grasping at straws.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. You're trying to make too many wires.
Yeah,
I guess they're exploring it, and Ultimate 3, issue 3, and this is a storyline the MCU is considering to adapt. It says, in the issue, Wolverine reveals to the rest of the team that Scarlet Witch could have been his daughter. He recounts the story of how after the war, he found refuge in the Balkan Mountains while searching for the Wundagore so that a witch could end his life. As Wolverine collapses in the snow, he's rescued by a beautiful woman named Magda, Scarlet Witch, and Quicksilver's mother. The two immediately have sex. But mid-coitus, Magneto, who had claimed Magda's heart for himself, arrived and sent Wolverine packing. When Wolverine meets Magneto years later, he asks to track and kill Quicksilver. After Scarlet Witch stops Wolverine from killing her brother, Logan oversees the two of them having an incestuous relationship. It's an incredibly gross moment that's somehow even worse when you consider the fact that Wolverine might be Scarlet Witch's dad. A father watching his potential daughter and her brother, which also would be Wolverine's son, having intercourse is about as messed up of a plot line as Marvel's ever published.
Bro, we're all going to need therapy after watching that, if that's true.
Yeah, of all the brilliant Marvel literature that they've come out with over the years, that's the one that they landed on. That's the one that they threw the dart at, and it landed on.
I'm telling you right now, they better scrap that idea fast.
Look, Quicksilver's dead. Let's leave the incest out of it.
And yeah. Unless you're gonna.
I mean,
never mind. Never mind.
I'm surprised. I thought they were gonna bring Quicksilver back in Endgame. I really did. I thought Quicksilver was gonna come back in Endgame.
How so?
I honestly, because like the rumor, like after Infinity War, was that that Thanos was gonna bring back past characters. Like he was like one of the rumors that I kind of was hoping was some of the deceased villains from past movies. Thanos was going to rise from the dead using the stones and like bring back Killmonger to fight on his side, and whoever else died. Hela died. I can't think of any. Who else died?
That would have been interesting.
I mean, you could have brought back Loki and turned him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh man, that would have been interesting.
Both sides.
Yep. That would I would like that storyline. I think that might have been dope.
That would have been very interesting.
The multitude of Iron Man villains that were pretty compelling. You know, some villains that Thor battled it out with that were borderline invincible.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Obadiah, Warmonger. Did he die or did he? I can't remember.
Yeah.
I think people forget about him. He was great.
He was. You know what? I want to see Silver Surfer come into the play. I want to see Silver Surfer in the next phase come into play and then do him right. Because Silver Surfer and don't he and Thanos have a connection?
I think so. Galactus. Him and
Galactus. Thank you. Okay. And then we could actually see Galactus in the next phase, though.
Now, yeah. Now, so I mean, we're so off of DC and Batwoman.
We are.
Marvel always takes over DC talk.
DC is just that bad.
Listen.
Say again.
DC. What'd you say, bro?
Oh, I was just saying, as far as live action goes, DC has significantly dropped the ball.
Oh, yeah.
I'll say the DC TV shows far surpass the Marvel TV shows.
Oh.
With the exception of maybe Daredevil. And Punisher was dope, too. But, I mean, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s trash.
Are we bringing Netflix into this?
The trash. I don't care. I mean, like I said, Daredevil was good.
Daredevil season 1 through 3 was phenomenal, and
Arrow
Punisher
season 1 through 7 was phenomenal.
I didn't watch it.
Flash 1 through this current season, whatever it is, 6 was phenomenal. Like, I'm just the DC TV shows. I mean, and the other thing they do better is the animation. DC animations tend to be better than Marvel animation.
Now, DC's animations, oh my God. beautiful. If they had the team that did those films to do the live action films, oh my God, they would have something.
Even not many people have this. They've already announced that it's being shut down, but I think everything's going to go to HBO Max. But the DC Universe app, Titans was a part of that. Titans is a really good show. And then Brendan
Swamp.
Fraser's in it. Nope, Swamp, that got canceled already. I can't think. It's making me like this show was wonderful. And I think you both would like it. It's so weird. It's such a strange show. Is Watchmen not a DC franchise?
Watchmen is
I think it is.
Watchmen
Yeah.
on HBO was amazing. Watchmen was amazing.
Are we counting that as a DC show?
How would you not? It's a
I'm
DC
just-
property.
I'm just asking.
And we have listen, because HBO is also making the new Green Lantern TV show, so it should count.
Now, if HBO
And we have Titans going to HBO, and then Doom Patrol, which was the show I was talking about that's phenomenal, is also going to HBO Max. So they're going to have their own little universe there that was tied into the Arrowverse in their crossover this year. All of these shows, Doom Patrol, Titans, Watchmen, all of it was included in this crossover this past December.
I'll be honest, if HBO takes command of the shows, I'm highly intrigued because I loved Watchmen. I know they're saying that that's only going to be the only one season, but I don't see how that's possible. There needs to be another season for that, at minimum one more, because that was a phenomenal story. Yeah,
I mean, it was from the jump that it was going to be a mini series. And just do what it was and leave it be. They were all so say when I go to LA next year,
mm-hmm.
and if I book a TV show, I'm gonna have to sign a 7-year deal. That's all television deals, unless it's a mini series, is 7-year deals. However, Watchmen, they were all contracted for 1 year, not even 1 year, for just whatever was it 10 episodes, eight episodes.
I think so.
They were just contracted for those 8 episodes, whereas most other shows, like I said, is a 7-year contract. And that's another thing, going back to Batwoman, that I'm surprised she got out of her contract. It has been somewhat known that, and I don't know her, so this it's all speculation, that she's fairly difficult to work with, Ruby Rose.
Ruby Rose.
From I mean, even if we look back to her arc on Orange is the New Black, I can't think of her character's name. It's a good show, but I can't think of her character's name. However, they never finished her storyline. One day she got locked up in solitary confinement, and you ain't never seen her again. But here's the thing: she's had some success in films, which is 4 or 5 months, and that's it. She did the Triple X Return to Xander Cage. She did the Meg.
Yep.
And she did another film.
Terrible film. Terrible film.
I refused to watch it. I refused. And Dwight Schrute's in that.
Yes, he is.
Is he in that?
Rainn Wilson. Rainn Wilson.
I would watch it just because of him.
Now, here's the thing: when you talk about these shows,
mm-hmm.
some actors are not cut out for these long hours to lead a show of this caliber, because they're on set for 16 to 18 hours a day.
Yeah. In
Vancouver, if you can't handle the weather, you're screwed. And it's just been reported that she didn't want to be there because she couldn't handle the hours. And she just grew really difficult to work with because she didn't want to be there. Just like anybody, if you don't want to be somewhere, you're going to be difficult to be around.
If you sign up for something like that, you should know from the jump what if you've been in media production long enough, no matter which direction you are, you know those are long days for shoots. Like that is basic.
Yeah.
So if she thought that was gonna be an 8-hour job,
This is her first lead role, so
she should have known that from doing Orange.
That's true.
That's not an 8-hour day.
Yes, no, it's not. I mean, yes and no. You know, I mean, you're dealing with a whole different beast with this. You know, Marvel really jump started this whole live action. You know, we're gonna make a bunch of things that all connect together. You know, where starting with the Iron Man movie back in 2008, Iron Man, and I think they did Hulk that year as well. You know, and they interconnected all of them, and there was the whole thing came full circle, and it just everything it exploded, and it had people dying, craving more, more, more. And DC knew that first of all, they had missed the boat on this big time, and the other thing is all these actors, a lot of them, I know that Chris Evans was one of them when he was doing his Captain America role. He was having a lot of mental issues, and even before he even started the role, and he had them throughout, you know, having to regularly seek counseling. And it's a completely different monster. You're talking about the difference between what Ruby Rose, what I'm assuming is probably used to. You know, she had kind of like if I'm not mistaken, she was kind of an assisting character on Orange is the New Black, right? She wasn't like a main character.
Yeah, she did around 15 episodes.
Right. Well, I would say there's a big difference between doing that and being the lead role in that TV show. And there's also a big difference between being the lead role in a TV show and being the lead role in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a big difference between shooting an hour and a half to 2.5 hour movie than there is to 45 minutes, anywhere from 10 to 20 episodes. Could be the next 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, depending on the popularity of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's look at their shoot schedules. Their shoot schedules are 8 to 9 days at a time, 16-hour days.
Yeah.
Okay. And 2 days off.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you're the lead of that show, you're going to be there those full nine days. That's the length of an episode shoot.
80% of the show.
And Stephen Amell's talked about it. Stephen Amell, who played Green Arrow, he talks about, all right, well, you have a different director coming in every week virtually, every episode. And so whoever the lead of that show is, they're the ones who are responsible for that set almost, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
So she had a responsibility to help the director kind of get, like, if it's a new director, get them accustomed to being on that set. And Stephen Amell has talked about it, having to rein in, you know, the cast. You guys want to hang around and sing songs, or do you want to do your shit and go home? And so she had a responsibility, and maybe it's a responsibility that she just couldn't withhold. And, you know, that's not anything negative. Some people can't, and that's fine.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think that that's just something that I guess maybe some people just have to learn by actually doing it. Mm-hmm. You can learn from the experience of others, but I think sometimes you have to just learn from just doing it. But to me, that would be something that if I'm on a show and I have like a supporting role, I'm paying attention to the lead and seeing how hard they're working, you know, and that's why to me it comes as a shock to hear someone that was a lead now say, "Oh, well, I can't do it," because if you've been a supporting,
go
ahead.
I was gonna say, even going back to her stint on Orange is the New Black, those are 13 episode seasons as opposed to 22 episode seasons that CW is still doing.
Most definitely.
And like I said, she was a recurring character. She wasn't a co-lead. She wasn't a lead. So she probably didn't know what she was getting into. You can debate whether or not she should have known. Because I've only done commercials and a couple of short films and stuff like that, and I know. And I'm just saying, give me the job. I ain't quitting. I mean, no, I won't be Batwoman, but
Oh, let me see how much money you're paying. Let me look at that first.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
I'll put on a red wig.
I got red hair already, dog. What do you mean? But
I mean, I gotta say the burden I gotta say is on those running the show. You know what I mean? Like, this can't be news to them.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not one to speak about what's on someone else's heart, but I mean, if she's created this kind of a reputation, that has to be something you have to consider. Now, don't get me wrong. You know, for the looks of it, you know, acting, did a great job. You know, for what she is to the community, and what she means to them, like, you kind of like, you nailed everything. The problem is you know, it's kind of like getting that diva wide receiver at the top of the NFL draft. You know, it's answering your call, but you have to be willing to deal with all the baggage that comes with it. Yeah, a diva wide receiver, yeah, they think very highly of themselves. Yeah, guess what? They're probably going to be dating supermodels. Yeah, guess what? When they should be, you know, practicing on a Saturday before a playoff game, they're out on some boat somewhere. You know, those are things that you have to consider when you're bringing something like that in. And, you know, you can't blame Ruby Rose for being Ruby Rose. I'm sorry. When someone tells you who you are, believe them. No, the burden's on you.
Yep.
She is going to have a lot of trouble from here on out in her career. If the rumors dating back to Orange is the New Black and even the films are true, leaving a high profile series after one season when she signed a 7-year contract, she's gonna have a tough time.
Yeah.
And it's sad because she is talented. She is talented. We don't know what she's going through mentally. That's true. You know, hope she's just good and her mental health is more important than anything. And I'm sure that was a part of it. So I don't think she did the wrong thing. I think she did what was best for her. And I'm sure she understands that her career might be affected by this. It is what it is. And I hope the best for her. I really do.
Yeah. But
she's young too, so.
Yeah, I was about to say, you saw Robert Downey Jr. had the same issues with reputation, and he just, you know, it's just something that he was able to work on. So if she can do the same thing, I don't see why she couldn't have that same success.
Yeah. So moving on to the next topic, it's exciting, man. People didn't think it was real, but it's real. It's happening. We will be getting the Snyder Cut on HBO Max. All right, so Bruce, have you seen Justice League?
Absolutely, I have.
What? All right, original takes on Justice League, the film that was released in theaters that we've seen. What were y'all's takes?
All right. My whole take on DC, and this is a sad and unfortunate truth. I grew up huge Batman fan, always been a big Batman fan ever since I was a kid. It was Batman the Animated Series with Kevin Conroy and Matt Hamill. That is everything I was raised on. I was raised on the Tim Burton films. You know, everything is Batman. And whether DC likes it or is willing to admit it, everything they do has to revolve around Batman. Everything you do will begin and live and die with Batman. So if you screw the pooch on Batman, you screw the pooch on the entire franchise.
Now, hold on. Ben Affleck was a great Batman.
Great Batman, great Bruce Wayne combo.
Yes.
The best.
Okay, Batman.
No,
the best Batman.
The best.
LJ.
The best.
The best.
We're both saying it.
Hands down, the best.
Batman.
Hands down. And I'm a huge Batman fan as well. The only thing I think they did mess up on Batman, though, I will agree with you on that one. And that messed up the foundation of the story. But only because of the story that they chose to tell. The story of the Batman that they chose to tell was an older Batman experiencing the stuff that the younger Batman experienced. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of hard to marry those two stories together and expect it to work out, because excuse me, the whole thing with him being retired or going being the old grizzly Batman, that was great. I love the idea for that. I'm sorry.
It's the Dark Knight Returns story, is what they were essentially emulating.
Right.
The problem is they tried to start with that. The problem is the Dark Knight Returns story is a finality story.
Right.
You can't start with that story.
And from there. And Batman, when Justice League is formed, is a younger Batman. So you can't tell an older story of Batman with a younger Batman direction, and then all of a sudden think that it's going to work out. It doesn't work like that, because the way that the Justice League was set up, that's how he was younger. He wasn't the older Batman in the Justice League. So you can't. That's what confused me with it from the jump. Right. But Ben Affleck, perfect casting for Batman, perfect casting for Bruce Wayne.
Let me be clear. As far as looking like the role of Bruce Wayne, yeah, that I will agree with 100%. I've never seen an actor grace the screen that looked more like the comic book Bruce Wayne. Like I would say Ben Affleck's like 6'4", 6'5", mid 200s. He's a big dude. Compared to so many other Batmans who, let's face it, the only thing muscular about them was their suit.
Yeah.
But as far as...
And his suit didn't have nipples.
But, as far as the character itself goes, he looked like Bruce Wayne. To me, that's pretty much where it ended. And there was, for me personally, I didn't buy him as Batman. There was no point in the movie where I felt like it was Batman. Christian Bale, when he was Batman, I felt like he was Batman. When, and you guys are probably going to make fun of me for this one, but from Batman Forever, I felt like he was Batman. It just to me, it was almost like maybe it's like maybe he's too big for the role, if that makes sense. So I know who Ben Affleck is. I know who Batman is. And it's just, it didn't blend. It just didn't mesh. And I do think that a lot of that has to do with the direction. I do, 100%. Yeah. And the storyline. I think they screwed them.
Let me ask you this, though. In terms of his combat style, that to me was the biggest part of him looking like Batman. Because Ben Affleck's Batman was the only one that I remember, that I can even recall outside of the animated version, where when he fought, his neck turned. You know what I'm saying? It was, and it's basic. It's basic. It's very basic. When you're fighting, you have to be able to turn your neck. You have to look into different directions. You have to do all that stuff. And he was fluid. And that to me, part of his combat style, with that being having that fluidity, just made it just pop even more on screen that he was Batman. So we can debate in terms of the voice, or maybe the style of the cowl that they used. We can debate about those things, but the overall aspect of Batman, I thought that his read significantly better and matched what we remember as kids seeing in the Batman animated series, versus what we've seen in film up to this point. So that's what I mean when the subtle nuances, we could debate that, the bat logo and all that stuff. We could debate that, but the essence of who Batman actually is, I felt like Ben Affleck embodied that as Batman and as Bruce Wayne. We've going through the history of Batman on film. On film, we've only seen like maybe one that's been a great Batman and a horrible Bruce Wayne. Great Bruce Wayne and a horrible Batman. But this was it, and that's what I liked about it. But again, the direction that DC decided to go in, you can't tell two different points on the timeline of Batman and think that it's gonna work. It doesn't work like that.
The movies were trash.
Wait. Which one was?
Man of Steel was trash.
Exactly.
Anything Snyder did was trash.
Man of Steel was trash.
I hate Man of Steel. I've seen it 12 times trying to like it. Man of Steel was trash. And I'll say Henry, however you say his name, Henry Cavill is trash.
As Superman?
Yes. I've seen him in other things. He's wonderful. I hate him. Yeah. Trash.
Come on.
BVS.
Superman.
Come on, bro. He was.
I want Tom Welling. Fuck Henry Cavill. I don't want him. He's out anyway. Doesn't matter. Man of Steel was trash. BVS was trash. I'll say this. I liked this version of Superman more each film. I liked him best in Justice League.
What?
More so than I liked him in BVS and Man of Steel.
I thought he was worse in Justice League because they had the opportunity to tell the story of Superman with the you know when he came back with the black suit and all that.
They had that up here. We didn't even see him in a black suit.
They had the opportunity to go with that, and they didn't even do it. They brought him back, and then he's just a regular Superman. I'm like, that's not what I wanted to see, man. I was so hyped up because I saw the behind the scenes. That story.
I'm talking about his performance. His performance was best in Justice League, in my opinion. He was more likable to me. I don't know. He just didn't.
I love Man of Steel.
I hate it.
I actually thought that the more we saw, the worse it got.
See, I'm the opposite with
Man
him.
of Steel.
Just talking him.
No, I'm with you. Man of Steel, perfect. Batman vs Superman was great up until they decided to talk about this the both moms having the same name and Lex Luthor. I think with that, the Lex Luthor and Doomsday those were the three elements that actually killed Batman vs Superman. But the film itself, Batman and Superman, they were great. I just didn't like the Martha thing. But I didn't realize both of their moms' names were Martha until they said it. So I was actually in the theater like, oh my God. It's true.
In the theater, I screamed, what the fuck? I was so mad.
I'm sorry. So on the play, Batman versus Superman was absolute unmitigated trash. Yes. That movie was so
You know why it was trash?
Middle to end.
You know why it was trash?
Why was it trash? Go ahead. Why was it trash?
We didn't get to see as much of Batman as we wanted to see.
That's true.
I wanted a Batman film. I didn't want to get introduced to Batman with him fighting Superman. I wanted to see Batman. And then you do the Batman versus Superman film. I think that's probably where the downfall of that film actually started, was because they just didn't do a solo Batman film. But I actually thought that I actually liked it, man. I bought the movie.
No, I'm a collector.
I think the idea they were going for, I understand why they went with Batman versus Superman, because they did Man of Steel first. Mm-hmm. So you're starting off with Superman, which is fine. You know, he's a pivotal character of the Justice League. But they also understood that Batman is, unfortunately, you know, it's sad but true, but he is more important to the Justice League's success than Superman is.
He's the foundation of it.
They needed to nail it. So what they needed to do was they took an old, you know, story of, you know, what wins, Superman's invincibility or Bruce Wayne's intelligence. So which was showcased in The Dark Knight Returns, which was you know, which is fine. You know, that's fine, but that doesn't give you a lot to go off of. First of all, the Dark Knight Returns wasn't the first time Bruce Wayne and Superman met. That was their first mistake, was trying to make it seem like, oh, this is the first time they've ever met. You know, that Superman came when Batman's like in his 50s.
Yeah.
So that was your first mistake. Second of all, you made it, at no point did you see Batman's genius intellect showcased. He was basically pants in the yard by Lex Luthor, which, by the way, Lex Luthor was handed down his back. All right? On what planet did that make sense?
And they made it Lex Luthor's son.
For a second. mannerisms, you wouldn't mind it, but good actor. But his mannerisms weren't even like Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor was a very intelligible human being. He was goofy, like a Riddler.
Can we agree that Michael Rosenbaum was the best Lex Luthor we've seen? Can we agree on that, please?
Hands down.
He's better than Smallville.
Oh yeah, I only saw a couple of episodes, but yes, I've seen enough to agree with that.
Yeah,
he's the best, and he's gone on record to say that he would come back to do it in a feature. Give it to him.
I'll take it.
Let me.
I
want to
see it, but he's gonna be too old.
He's like 40. He's fine. What are you talking about? He was 20 when he was playing. It was Smallville was younger. He was 20 then. He was 24 when he booked it.
In all honesty, the real tragedy to me is, in LJ, I know you're not a big fan of Henry Cavill, but I love him, first of all. I'm with you, Derrick. I think he's an excellent Superman. I'm not a big Superman fan. This is actually, I would also say the same thing about, this is one of my problems with Captain Marvel. Not with the actress, not with the direction, not with anything. It's with the character itself. I'm not a fan of Superman-like characters. I'm not a fan of characters that are basically invincible, but yet somehow we find a way to take them down. Oh, I'm sorry, we can't kill Superman, but we just happen to have a little bit of this green rock, which is just enough to make him cry like a little girl.
I agree with that.
So you're just throwing in this cop-out character at the last minute after you've built the entire Marvel universe, and you're just expecting everyone to be drawn to her like we are to Thor and Scarlet Witch and Black Widow and Captain America. No, I'm sorry. We've had plenty of movies to truly grow attached to these characters. And as far as the Justice League goes, the real tragedy to that is Jason Momoa, I thought, was an amazing Aquaman. A bit of a twist on the character, but I thought he was phenomenal.
The Aquaman film was great, in my opinion.
That was really good.
Gal Gadot was the perfect Wonder Woman, and I was talking to my a couple of friends of mine before the movie came out. So I was just curious. I was thinking like Gal Gadot, and I knew that I had seen her like in the Fast and the Furious movies. And I'm looking it up, and she's she spent time. She was in the military. She had actual combat training. All this different stuff, and she's from she's Middle Eastern. And I'm looking at her, and I'm really thinking, I was like, the original Wonder Woman was always portrayed by a woman of fairer skin. Mm-hmm. And Wonder Woman in the comics, while it tended to show her with fair skin, she was actually supposed to be related to the Greek goddesses, who would have been more of olive complexion. So I'm looking, before she even stepped on the screen, all I could think of was like, this Wonder Woman is gonna look more like Wonder Woman than the Wonder Woman that was ever created.
Yeah.
It's actually gonna look like a Wonder Woman, and she nailed it. She did phenomenal.
She did it.
Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, excellent. You killed a whole franchise because I think they messed up Batman.
Yeah. I think Flash was excellent too.
I liked him.
Flash was excellent, man.
I liked that.
I'll say this.
He's
what? You don't like him?
No, I don't like Ezra Miller.
Then what did you like about Justice League? That's what I'm confused about.
I didn't say I liked Justice League. I said I liked Henry Cavill best in Justice League.
Oh, okay.
League?
He made me laugh. I don't like the actor, and they're finally making they're finally making the Flash movie happen. But now there's footage of him hitting a woman. So is he going to be out as Flash too? I hope so, but we'll see.
He hit a woman.
Yeah,
as Flash or in real life?
In real life, punched a woman.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
that news broke like 3 weeks ago.
I didn't know. Well, there you go. Snyder Cut's gonna be messed up.
Look, I don't know if you guys saw it. Actually, Bruce, I showed you at work. Shows what we were doing. I showed you at work. The Jimmy Fallon BVS parody that they did, 10-minute clip, was better than BVS as a whole. Do you remember that? Do you remember that, Bruce?
Very vaguely. Very vaguely.
Basically, what it is that same set and everything from BVS is the big white room. Everybody's wearing white clothes except for Batman and Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent. And you kind of have them, Bruce and Clark, meeting for the first time, and they're like, kind of standing up against each other as their own people. And Jimmy Fallon comes in, he's like, wait a minute, you mean to hold on? And he covers he covers Ben Affleck's eyes. He's like, I've seen that before. Like, and then he takes the glasses off of Clark, and he's like, Superman. Like, that was better than BVS as a whole.
I think Batman vs Superman had a lot of holes in it. I'm not disagreeing with you on that, but I think that they still, at the end of that film, had the foundation to build the universe properly. Yeah. Because combined with Man of Steel, they still had the proper foundation to build it up, and they still didn't do that right. They failed at doing that. You've heard me say this plenty of times, LJ. I don't trust DC. I don't think they're going to get it right. I've given up on them. I don't care. I don't care. Will I go see this? Will I watch the Snyder Cut? Hell yeah, I'm going to watch it. But Justice League as a film, Justice League as a film was a parody in and of itself. It was horrible. I didn't understand where they were going with that.
Look, even the CGI was bad.
The CGI was trash.
I'm not even talking about his mustache. There's only so much you could really do there.
Yeah.
But everything else was trash too.
You can clearly, you're not supposed to be able to look at a green screen and really say, oh, that's green screen. The best green screen you don't even know is green screen.
Those red skies at the end were awful.
Horrible.
Awful. So bad.
I don't know who they got to do all that, who they decided to hire to color grade, who they decided to hire to do lighting. None of it on any aspect was good. I'm sorry. The best part of the Justice League film was the end credits, because I was ready to stop watching it. I was done. Aquaman was probably the best part of it. But they just made a joke of Batman. They made a joke of Superman. I'm still not understanding the timeline of Wonder Woman. Like, none of it adds up. I'm just
since episode 1 of Realish, I've been talking shit about Wonder Woman. Listen, what I mean is Wonder Woman 2. The Wonder Woman film was wonderful. Gal Gadot is the best possible option. She's amazing as Dinah. But listen, hold on. Here's the thing. And to the audience who's heard this, I'm sorry, but Bruce, let me get your thoughts on this. All right, you've seen all the DC films. Okay. So, Wonder Woman was not a practicing superhero in between everything that happened at the end of Wonder Woman and BVS, right? That's been just discussed and confirmed and talked about in those films. So what the fuck happened in Wonder Woman 1984? Why I don't want this sequel? Why is he, what's his name? What's her boyfriend's name?
The guy Chris Pine plays.
Yeah, I don't like him either. Fuck Chris Pine.
You don't trust DC either. That's the thing. You don't trust DC.
I don't like the actor. I'm sure Chris Pine is a wonderful person. I've never liked any of his films.
Yeah. I thought he did. I thought he did okay in Star Trek. I'll watch the
You didn't like This Means War?
What movie?
This Means War. This Means War with Reese Witherspoon and Tom Hardy.
I didn't see it.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that one either.
And Chelsea Lately, hilarious. So funny.
But tell me I'm wrong. Why am I getting 1984? And why is he alive?
He
was a human, but why is he alive? What? I don't.
He clearly blew up.
First of all, comic book logic. All right, not logic.
He's a human though. He's not a hero.
Okay. Comic book logic, it doesn't matter. This whole universe where Batman died and his parents were the ones who lived, His dad took over as Batman, and Martha Wayne became Joker.
I want it.
We want the comic.
Look, they were
absolutely. I'd watch that in a heartbeat.
They were talking about having before they made the decision on Robert Pattinson. They had that discussion, or at least it was rumored that they had that discussion that because they're doing which they shouldn't do because the series just did it, but they're adapting the Flashpoint comics again, and that was going to basically revamp the DCEU. And we were going to get what's his name, like who the dude from Supernatural plays in Walking Dead. What's his name?
I forget his name.
You know what I'm talking about, Bruce?
I know.
One of the main characters.
The Supernatural, the father, Negan in The Walking Dead.
Oh yeah.
He played his father in BVS.
Right.
They
were talking about having him take over as Batman.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Yeah, he's amazing. I want that.
I would have loved to have seen that because that would have been perfect.
Made the sale. Done.
I want it. They're not doing it. We're getting Robert Pattinson, but I mean,
which I don't want. I'm sorry. I don't want a sparkly vampire as the Caped Crusader.
I've seen a lot of his.
So good at acting. You say he is. I don't want Twilight in my Batman film.
Have you seen his indie films? He's a good actor. He's really good.
He's good.
Twilight was trash. His indie films are good.
He's good. I don't trust him as Batman though. I don't trust him.
He's Batman.
I'll give him a shot because we have no choice. But
Better watch it.
I'm sorry, man. I still wanted Ben Affleck. I still wanted him.
It really does drive me crazy just how they have my balls so tightly in a vice. They really do. Because they're going to put out crappy live action after crappy live, and I'm going to watch it.
And you're going to watch it. They know it. That's why they won't change it. This is exactly what Knicks fans and Cowboys fans go through every single year. I am so serious. Until you hit them in their pocket, they're never going to change.
You're the Cleveland Browns.
They're never going to change, man. This is the equivalent to that. This is the equivalent to that. They're just never going to change.
Cleveland Browns of the comic book world, of the live action comic book world.
They are DC.
Look, I just think DC should
perfect casting. Don't have no direction.
They should take the opportunity that they had. Now, they couldn't get Flash under control. They really could have used Flashpoint to fix their errors. And because Affleck left, they fired Henry. So
mistake.
They had now Affleck left because of his alcoholism. He just went on record on the press tour for the way back to talk about that.
Yeah.
Oh God bless him. I wish him well.
Yeah, he I don't know if you saw that, Bruce, but he went on record just talking about how it was his decision to leave because of the amount of stress and stuff that was coming from it. So
and the
good
direction
on him.
they were going was bad too.
Yeah. I'm happy for him. I mean, going back to when he first got cast, he was married, and now he's not, and like all of that had to have played a part into it because those schedules are just ruthless for these films. But they had every chance to fix these errors with Flashpoint that they couldn't get right. They've had 5-6 different directors attached to that film. And they just can't get it. And they had, now listen, Aquaman was a great film. I loved Aquaman. Shazam was an even better film. Shazam.
Those are the two best films DC has come out with. Have you seen Shazam, Bruce?
Yeah.
I haven't gotten to see that one. I wanted to see that one though. Yeah.
Shazam is amazing. Now, and here's the thing. We talked about it, I think last week or maybe 2 episodes ago, Derrick, but Patty Jenkins, who's the director of Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 1984, she's saying that this is the same Wonder Woman that we've seen already, right? So it's the same storylines, the same, but that could have also been a perfect opportunity to explain why she's a superhero in 1984, why the guy's back, and because they're revamping the DCEU. So why is this the same Wonder Woman? I want to keep Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. I really do. So let's do that. But we can start over with her story, because we can all admit, even though Wonder Woman was a great film, BVS and Justice League were not. And we can start over, and we can be happy, and like I said, Aquaman was good. They're heading in the right direction. I trust James Gunn with the Suicide Squad. That is completely a reboot, even though we're keeping Margot Robbie, we're keeping Jai Courtney, we're keeping those actors. And we're not getting Will Smith back. But we're
not getting Will Smith, and we're not getting Jared Leto back.
Which that's our segue to the Joker topic.
I didn't mean that, but that was perfect.
Let me just say though, I really do. I personally, I really feel for Jared Leto, because that man, he's a method actor. Any role he does, he puts his heart, his soul, he puts his body on the line. He puts his mental health on the line for his role. And
you seen Dallas Buyers Club?
On that role. Oh yeah, excellent movie.
Yeah,
excellent movie.
Yes.
Yeah, Fight Club.
Bro.
Absolutely.
He's
Requiem for a Dream.
Oh yeah.
Excellent actor, and he puts his neck on the line for these roles, and I really feel for him, because he really did a good job portraying the Joker. I really do think he did a good job portraying the Joker, but I think he was just screwed in the way
phenomenal.
the Joker himself was portrayed on screen. I feel like he was completely screwed in that.
Before we dive too deep into Jared Leto, let's go back to the very beginning of Jokers and give our critiques or whatever. I sent you guys a list. We're just gonna hit the live action Jokers, starting with Cesar Romero, the '60s Joker. What do you guys think? How do you feel?
As far as Cesar Romero goes, he really launched the live-action Joker. He was perfect for what's known as the Silver Age Joker. You know, the way a lot of comics are broken down. I don't know if you guys know this, but it's broken down between the Golden Age, which is old, like 40s, 50s, or some early 60s. Then you get into which were amazing. They were perfect. They're very similar to the comics we know today. In terms of the storyline and their plot. You get to the Silver Age, which I'm not a huge fan of. It's very mustache twirling, and Batman is goofing off doing some weird hippie thing in the jazz club down the street. But as far as that goes, that's where
you just described the Birds of Prey villain.
I haven't seen it yet, but I'll let you know.
Don't waste your time, bro.
Oh, really? Oh, now I'm going to have to watch it. Now I'm going to watch it tonight.
Just listen to our review. You'll be fine.
As far as I think Caesar was really limited by his time and by what he was allowed to do on TV, because I think he nailed the role he was given. And that's all you can ask for someone, is the role you're given, what do you do with it? And I think that with what he was given, he was excellent. If he was doing it today, I think we'd get an amazing Joker, and very similar to what we're used to in Joker. For the time period, it was just that, it was very goofy, very mustache twirling villains, and that's what you got. But that's what Caesar gave you, because he knew what his audience was, and it was children.
Yeah.
It wasn't adults watching that show; it was children, and I think he nailed it. He was perfect.
Yeah,
he actually looked like the Joker.
Yeah. I think he was the foundation of what Joker is.
Yeah,
what we see on TV or in film, he's just a foundation. So he's like the Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain of Jokers. Like, it's almost like you don't really, when you're saying like the top 5 or whatever, you might not say his name, but he's like on the Mount Rushmore. It's like he's on
respect him.
It's you respect it. So he's in a league of his own. So I
have basically, just the comics to come off of. Like, he didn't have these past, like Jared Leto. He had these past Jokers to look back on. You know what I mean? Like, I thought he was great for what it was, and Rushi nailed it. I mean, it was a child show, and children were the audience. And
you also have to take into account one of the biggest things people draw from is the most iconic Joker is that in the Killing Joke comic, and that hadn't even come out yet.
Yeah.
So everything he's doing is again like we all said, he did what he could with what he had.
Yeah.
Yes.
And with almost no inspiration for the character, I thought he was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson. What do you mean? No, look.
I'll say this.
He's not in my top three. He's not in my top three, which we'll all have our top three at the end. He's not in my top three. I mean, but I also enjoy Jack Nicholson. I really do, in pretty much virtually everything. So
I enjoyed his portrayal when I was a kid.
I haven't seen it since I'm a kid, so maybe it would change.
That's what I'm saying. I enjoyed it then, but looking back on it, it's not one of my favorite. I think he did a good job. I think he did a real good job with it.
Setting it apart from the Kitty Cesar Romero.
Yeah,
he did really well.
He definitely made it something different from Romero's. I'm just not really a huge fan of his portrayal. But that's not a knock on him. It's just what I know now versus what I knew back then. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I don't want to dump on his portrayal, because honestly, when you're looking back to the earlier versions of whatever film, you can't really judge the film itself through the eyes of the present. You have to be able to look at it for what they had back then, just like you're talking about with Romero. But I love the fact that he was able to make it his own. I don't mean to be disrespectful, like when you first asked it. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but he just wasn't one of my favorites. Because even back then, I was actually comparing him to Mark Hamill's version, and back then that's what I was kind of like looking at it like that.
I definitely want to talk about Mark Hamill because he's the Joker. He's the Joker, but
especially for our generation.
Yeah. But I mean, and now on to our third option, who will be number one on each of our lists, Heath Ledger.
Oh yeah.
Heath Ledger, man, was look. I saw The Dark Knight in theaters 4 times. I was probably like 13 when it came out, maybe 14. I don't know.
What year did that come out? 08?
I don't know. Yeah, it came out the same year as Iron Man. Right?
Okay, I think so. 08, 09, somewhere around there.
Yeah, so I was 12.
Yeah, you know what? It had to have been 2008. Yep. Because without, I think I actually got it as a Christmas present for December of 08. So yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I got it as a present too, the box set.
Listen, man, that Heath Ledger was just phenomenal. So dating back, let me ask you guys, going back now, like I think I watched Dark Knight maybe a month ago, and I'm curious if you guys are the same. Nothing against the movie. The movie is wonderful, but now coming to 10 years off of it, what more than 10 years, 12 years off of it, I find myself fast forwarding through the parts that the Joker's not in.
I see why
I'm not taking away from the film. The film's wonderful, but now when I go back to watch it, I just want to see Heath Ledger.
Yeah. Excuse me. I see why you say that.
Heath Ledger is a phenomenal actor. You know, just an excellent actor. Nothing to take away from him at all. But I shouldn't say that. That's not the right preface to what I'm going to say. Nothing to take away from his previous work. But his portrayal of the Joker, I have no words for it, because I don't think I've ever seen a comic book character quite so perfectly portrayed on a live action film. And I'm just maybe a difference of taste, but I mean, The Dark Knight, to me, it's a long movie, and it's typically the whole Dark Knight series, with the Batman Begins, Dark Knight, and Dark Knight Rises, it's actually usually what I tend to stray away from when I'm looking at my comic books, because I want my live action to bring my comic books to life, which is why we all love the Marvel, because they all look like they did in the comic book.
Yep.
And in the Dark Knight, Christopher Nolan changed so many things. He literally took the entire Batman universe and just put his own weird spin on it, and it worked.
He said it in reality.
Worked.
Yeah, said in reality.
No vats of acid, it's reality.
Yeah. Worked. And everything he touched in those 3 movies just was gold. It was beautiful. And as far as Heath Ledger goes, and I'll give you a little feel of that going up to it, because growing up, the only live action depiction of the Joker I had was Nicholson, and that was in the late 80s. Because I didn't watch the old Batman show. I didn't grow up with Adam West. I grew up with the animated series, like you guys did. Mark Hamill was my Joker. Although back then I didn't know he was Skywalker. That was a big slip on my head when I grew up.
That was like the Martha thing for me, man. Oh my God.
Yeah. So anyway, I was driving in the car. I'll never forget it. I was driving in the car, and I hear on the radio, and they're talking about the new Batman film, and I'm thinking it's been so long since they've done the Joker. I really hope they do the Joker. If they want these movies to survive, they have to do the Joker. And sure enough, they say, okay, Joker's officially the villain. I'm like, oh yes, all right, who is it? And they're like, Heath Ledger, and I'm like,
yeah.
The guy from 10 Things I Hate About You. Are you kidding me? Really? And I'm so fuming. I'm like, you better not ruin my favorite character. I swear, you better not ruin. And I get into the theaters, and I'm like you, LJ. I saw it with anyone who wanted to see it. I went back to see with them. They were like, oh, you already said no. Come on, we're going. We'll go right now. Mm-hmm. I was blown away. If I had to critique him, and I swear this is strictly nitpicking. This is grasping at straws to find something to critique him. He was perfect. He could have had more fun, like the Joker typically does. Truly seemed like he enjoyed the anarchy and the death and the mayhem and just absolute turmoil. There was almost a sense of duty to the role, where it was more of he felt he was doing what he needed to do, not what he enjoyed doing, if that makes sense.
I actually thought that came across toward the end of the film, where when they were in that construction site and dangling. Yeah, and he's just he told Batman, I'm not gonna kill you, I need you.
Even
when he was burning the money to me, it seemed like he was enjoying it.
He jumped down the pile and slid down.
But again, with the money, burning the money, that wasn't because he did it because it was fun. He did it because he wanted to show you, okay, you guys are garbage. What you do is just filthy. You're doing this. You're ruining everything for money. Look, it's paper. Look at this.
Yeah.
It's violent. It was more of, to me, it was more of speaking of the meaningless of money and the duty that it was up to him to show why everything humanity does is just pointless. It was classic nihilism, which was perfect because the Joker is a nihilist.
Yeah. But what do you think about the scene?
He was amazing.
What do you think about the scene at the hospital then? When he blew it up, because it looked like he was having fun with that.
That scene was actually improvised.
Yeah, no, that was I loved when they came out and said that. I was like, hold up, man. I think I rewatched that scene probably 10 times when I went to watch the movie back. But just throughout the scene though, when leading up to that point, he looked like he was just having fun, toying around with Two-Face and all that stuff. He looked to me like he was having the fun that you're talking about.
Eckhart didn't get enough credit for Two-Face either. He was really, really good as Two-Face.
Oh, he was phenomenal.
I was grossed out.
In that hospital bed when he turned his
That was disgusting.
Personally, I'm a Tommy Lee Jones guy. Tommy Lee Jones's depiction of Two-Face, but Eckhart was excellent.
I didn't like Tommy Lee Jones's version, man. It was just too. It was too cartoonish to me. Even though I love
Carrie outshined him.
Yeah. Even
Jim
though
Carrey outshined him.
Yeah, and actually Jim Carrey's Riddler was, I thought that was great physicality wise. I thought he did a great job with it. I just wanted to see a darker version of that. And I think that with that character, we saw that with Gotham. I think we saw the.
Look at you with the segues, bro. Because Cameron Monaghan's the next on the list.
2 for 2, man. I love it.
But again, Derek, you got to remember, you're talking about the mid to late 90s. It wasn't so much adult. That was the big draw in to see those Batman movies. It was still kind of kid. You know what I mean? It wasn't until really the Dark Knight movies came out and the Marvel Universe really, did its thing that it really captured, us 90s, like late 80s and 90s babies and realized that, hey, you know what? These guys still like comic books. Like this is still and actually, you know what also I think was a big boost in the right direction is Big Bang Theory. That show, because after that show hit the screen, there was a huge jump in the stock market for comic books. You know, everyone remembered, there's this, we all talk about these old these live action films that are just let's call them what they are. They're 90s, they're 80s and 90s movies, so they're kind of meh. But you know what? Where the great stories are, it's in the books, it's in the comic books. That's where your good comic book stories really are. And once they realize, hey, you know what? This is that generation. They grew up, and focus groups are saying they still like comic books. So if we make these catered to adults,
let's not forget Raimi's Spider-Man series. Like I think that was another big thing to. I mean, granted, those in the 80s and 90s were now adults still watching superhero films, like you just said. But I mean, they were big hits. Like when you look back or even when you read a lot of commentary on live action superhero projects, a lot of it's credited to those Spider-Man Raimi films for showing that it can be successful. And by the way, what's his name? Who played? I'm forgetting people's names today. Who played the Green Goblin?
Willem Dafoe.
Mm-hmm. Willem Dafoe should be the Joker.
Yes.
I wanted that 10 years ago.
I want it now.
I don't want it. I don't want it now. He's what? 80?
He's not 80.
70, 80.
Use old footage. I don't care. Soccer old footage from him from Boondoggle days. I don't care.
Yeah, and that's another great film.
Yeah,
oh my god,
yeah.
I love that film.
Now I will say
64.
He's 64?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Perfect.
Sorry, Will. But
80.
I mean what was that movie I just watched that he was in?
You watch Lighthouse? Great film. Robert Pattinson, Bruce, watch it.
No, I didn't see that one, but I will be checking that out. It was some other movie that he just played in that Ben Affleck was in. I forget the name of it.
Oh, on Most Wanted Man? Wasn't that what it's called? On Netflix?
Yes. Yeah. I'm thinking about his portrayal in that because he played an older guy in that movie. And that's how I'm looking at him right now. But I wouldn't mind seeing him as Joker as well. I would still love to see it. But Joker and Batman are around the same age. Not too they're not like 20 years apart. Maybe about 10, 15 years, somewhere in that range.
What says that though? Because with all the makeup and stuff, you can't tell how old the Joker is.
Bro, it's nothing like concrete, but every portrayal that we've seen, they've been similar in age, not too far in age. I don't want to see a young Batman versus a 60-year-old man. I don't want to see that.
You have to remember, Joker is the product. Again, this is up for interpretation because obviously everything. That's the whole point of the Joker. He's not a person. He's an idea.
An idea, yeah.
The most popular accepted origin story of the Joker tends to lean towards the Killing Joke, where he saw Batman, fell into a vat of acid, came out all deformed and knocked upstairs. And with that, who's to say that doesn't steal the skin, if you will, that doesn't cause him to look older or younger or however you need to flip it. You know what I mean? You don't necessarily have to do the Heath Ledger makeup thing.
I never thought about it like that.
Just like seal the skin with that flat aspect, almost like you have, and not a flat aspect, like a flat line skin, like you have in the animated series. I mean, how old is the Joker in the animated series? No one knows.
That's a good point. That's a real solid point.
The makeup, you're not looking at Willem Dafoe as Willem Dafoe. This is Willem Dafoe's Joker. And I mean, look at what they did with with Michael Douglas in the Ant-Man movies when they made him his old season, they made him look like 30 years younger. They can do that with Michael Douglas. I think Willem Dafoe.
I'm not a fan of de-aging, man. I'm not a fan of de-aging. I mean, it works. When it works, it works.
Am I the only one? Because they did it in Civil War with Robert Downey Jr. I didn't think he looked great de-aged.
I didn't like it. I thought it was cool for what they did, but I wasn't a huge
Michael Douglas, I thought looked great.
Yes.
Robert Downey Jr. just seemed off. Just seemed wrong.
But you're also talking about Marvel de-aging versus DC de-aging. DC, I'm telling you right now, DC will mess it up. So that's where because I don't trust DC, man. I with my life, I would not trust them.
I just don't understand how a company who does as well as they do with comics, does as well as they do with live action shows, does as well as they do with animated movies, can't seem to figure it out with the live action movie.
They can't.
Let's also add that Warner Brothers is in charge of DC, and Warner Brothers makes hits. I don't get it.
Yes. Yeah. But also going back to the list though, Cameron Monaghan. I'm gonna be completely honest. He had serious range with Joker that we had never seen before.
Yep.
And that's because he had the time to have the range for it. Heath Ledger had one film. Jack Nicholson had one film. Who else?
Queen Phoenix.
Say again?
Queen Phoenix.
Joaquin. Yeah, he also had one film. But Cameron had like two and a half, 3 seasons, I think. And
even that first reveal though was kind of haunting.
Bro.
Oh yeah. To go from where you thought he was this innocent kid to this absolute nut job.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful portrayal.
In terms of range, no one is going to be able to touch Cameron Monaghan. Range, because he had time. I don't want people to sit here and interpret that as me saying that he's the number one Joker. He's not. But in terms of range, no one will be able to touch him because no one's going to have that amount of time with that character. But what we were able to see with him portraying Joker was second to none, and because of that range. And
it was exciting for those of us who watched Shameless too.
It was. Yes, most definitely.
No.
Most definitely. And
what he could do as an actor.
Yeah. And I want to see more. I want to. If you give me Joker, if you give me Cameron Monaghan as Joker in a film, I still think DC's going to mess it up. But that would be phenomenal. I would not hate it.
Before Venom came out and before they had made the announcement, but he was petitioning he was on social media. He wanted to play Carnage. Please, he's not Carnage, but he would have been a wonderful Carnage. He showed interest. He was on social media like, let me do it. And that would have been much better than that wig we saw. What do you guys think about that that red wig we saw in the end of Venom?
I hated it. Woody Harrelson? No, sorry.
I hated Venom.
I do. I like Woody Harrelson, but I enjoyed Venom. I thought it was. But again, I'm comparing it to all of Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Good, not great.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, but again, Venom growing up was one of my favorite characters, and I was kind of like, eh.
See, but that was also Sony.
Yep.
And
now with MCU taking over,
now they might get it right. I don't know. I wasn't a fan of the
Guillermo
movie.
del Toro's directing. No, not Guillermo del Toro. Sorry, what's his name? He played Claw in Black Panther.
Serkis, Andy Serkis.
Yes, he's amazing. I don't know why I said Guillermo del Toro. Forgive me. Serkis is a phenomenal director.
Oh, he is. Most definitely.
He directed too, which is done. And that, got pushed. It was supposed to be here in October. It got pushed back now because of coronavirus. But not only is he an amazing actor in Planet of the Apes, and he played Gollum. Like I trust him.
I trust him. But that's with Marvel being at the helm. Because I think with if it was Sony doing everything, this would. I love Tom Hardy. I loved what he did with the character, but the film itself was just I didn't like it, man. I thought they had good points to build off of. I think they made a nice solid foundation, because now we're going to be able to see Spider-Man incorporated with Venom. I think it's going to be phenomenal in that sense. But I liked what they were able to do with the character of Venom versus, Hardy's character. I like the interaction and stuff like that, but the overall execution of the film I didn't like. I recognized every street in Atlanta that they shot on. They didn't even bother to change things in that movie. I should not watch that movie and think I'm looking at Atlanta and it's supposed to be in California. That's one of my biggest gripes with a lot of movies being shot here in Atlanta is I'm able to see Georgia State campus in the background, and I shouldn't be able to see that and recognize it. I should look at this and think California. I should look at this and think Miami. Which
you also have to think of, the entire world has seen these films, right? So it's a very small circle of people who reside in comparison to the world, that live in Atlanta and will recognize those things. So virtually to studios, they don't care. It's not a big deal.
Yeah,
I see what you mean, and I understand that. But from the studio's perspective, it's going to save them money to film in Atlanta, so that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, and do it. By all means, do it. Just don't let me see the parking garage that I parked at when I was going to Georgia State. I like change a sign at least, God. Like at least do that. Come on, man.
So we have two Jokers left. Jared Leto.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce, take your shirt off. So whoever's not watching the video and they're just listening to the audio, I didn't just randomly tell him to take his shirt off. He has a Joker. He has the Jared Leto ha 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 tattoo on his chest, and I remember when you got that, and I was like, "That's amazing!" Like
that's phenomenal, bro.
That's.
I eventually want to get Bass on the other side to do like a duality tattoo, but I don't know if you know, but tattoos are expensive. So.
Yeah, I haven't got one yet.
Bruce, come back to Florida. You stay with me. My boy owns a tattoo shop, and he's got the hookups. He did Caitlin's sleeve. He did Caitlin's sleeve, and you saw that.
Absolutely, yeah. No, that came out awesome.
But Jared Leto, I think, didn't get a chance. He filmed so much, and he said they filmed enough to do a Joker standalone film, and he was only in the film for 13 and a half minutes.
That's a huge injustice because I really thought that he did a great job. I was able to actually look beyond the tattoos, which everybody for some reason
Tattoos didn't bother me.
They didn't bother me at all. Like when I first saw
it was fitting for the time.
It was, and when I first saw the set design and saw what they were doing with his character, at first I was pissed because I'm like, Joker doesn't have tattoos. What are y'all doing? But when I went to go see the movie, because I don't watch trailers, Bruce. I haven't watched a trailer since Iron Man came out, so I won't watch.
Try to avoid those nowadays too.
Yeah, and the further we go in time, the longer trailers get. They used to be about like a minute or so like that, and now they're about 2.5 to 3 minutes. They give the whole film away. Yeah, so I didn't watch the trailer for Suicide Squad, but when I went to go see it, I was taken aback by how Jared Leto was on that film. Oh my God! If they didn't need the Enchantress on that movie, they didn't need absolute garbage. If they did,
I enjoyed Suicide Squad. She was trash.
Yes, Suicide Squad was a great movie. She just demolished it though. But if they did Harley Quinn and Joker like as the main villains, oh man, that would have been. I think Jared Leto
would have made more sense.
It would have made phenomenal sense, man. And then you could have put Birds of Prey come out after that. You know, that would have made sense. It would have added up. We didn't see enough of Joker to see Birds of Prey like that.
His scene with Common was just like, I can't remember the dialogue, but I remember just like this motherfucker is crazy and I love it. And Bruce, tell me his performance wasn't reminiscent of some of the Bake Rats we dealt with. Like, you know, I can see some elements of some crazy people. You know what I mean? Like.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Jared Leto a lot.
I did. I think a lot of what we've seen to this point have been people who otherwise would have done a really good job, but were limited. Mm-hmm. You know, and same thing with Jared Leto. I think he was phenomenal. I thought his acting was excellent. To me,
that laugh,
he did a great job. I thought that there were certain character depictions within the movie that I wasn't a fan of. But again, that's not his call to make. He's not doing the wardrobe of the character. You know what I mean? So he's just trying his best to bring the character to life. As far as the tattoos go, love them. I was all about
that
the tattoo.
Smile tattoo.
That's what I was saying. That
if I didn't want a job with benefits, I'd have that on my hand. No joke. And I'm serious. You know, you're talking about a guy who you truly feel that he put everything he had into that role. And overall, I thought the casting was excellent. I thought Will Smith got like a kind of a raw heel for the role of Deadshot. I thought it was excellent. I thought he did a good job. I was fine with him as Deadshot.
Yes.
Harley Quinn, they said Margot Robbie. I remember the chick from Wolf of Wall Street, and I'm like, oh, they got it. They nailed it. Perfect. Because she's beautiful. She's gorgeous. She has unbelievable sex appeal, and she's nuts. And she's absolutely nuts. The guy for Captain Boomerang had me dying, which is what you want from Captain Boomerang. He was comic relief, you know, just kind of a cocky SOB, and that's what you got. You know,
it's worth saying.
I had. Go ahead, LJ.
No, my bad. Just while you mentioned Boomerang, it's worth saying that Jai Courtney has not had a good career. People hate Jai Courtney. He does not make good films. This was the second time I enjoyed something from him, and I really enjoyed it. He was hysterical as Captain Boomerang. What was the movie with Tom Cruise he did? He was good in that. The Die Hard film he did was trash. Die Hard 5 was garbage. He was on the trajectory of being done in Hollywood. But he really did well as Captain Boomerang. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, not at all. The only one that I wasn't a big fan of was Killer Croc. And because Killer Croc is really difficult to depict on screen to begin with. Because first of all, in almost every depiction, he's a larger than life character, and they made him about as tall as everybody else there. So I was kind of like, meh. But in the
I like that actor though.
He's not. The actor's good. You know, the actor's just fine. But the depiction of him where, and first of all, I don't even want to go there. He's not even a persistent Suicide Squad character.
Yeah.
He's kind of like here and there in the Suicide Squad comics. To me, he wasn't one that needed to be thrown in and was just kind of thrown in. To me, he's just kind of there for half the movie, and you almost don't even remember he's there.
Yeah, he didn't really do much.
I forgot he was even in the film, to be honest.
Again, in the comics, he is this when he, especially if you want to read any of the Joker by or any of the Azzarello comic books, Brian Azzarello, excellent work. Very, very graphic, very edgy, very dark. Typically works for the DC Black label if he's going to write one. And he, in those, he's this huge mountain of muscle, and that's what he was. He's an absolute titan, and it takes everything you can to take him down. And frankly, should have been the guy's front line. If you were gonna put him on the Suicide Squad, he should have been the first guy charging into battle.
Yes.
But it was kind of a loss.
Yeah.
Overall, I enjoyed it.
El Diablo, I loved him.
Oh, he was great.
He was great.
He was so good. Excellent.
He was great. Rick Flag. Now, what's his name? Why am I so bad with names? Who wrote and directed the movie Training Day?
I'm drawing a blank too.
Anyway, the guy who wrote and directed Suicide Squad, he wanted Shia LaBeouf for Rick Flag, which would have been better.
That would have been great.
Warner Brothers said no.
Oh, because of the reputation thing.
Because of his reputation.
Rick Flag, are you guys nuts?
Shia LaBeouf's one of the best actors right now.
No, acting, yeah, he would have killed that role.
He's one of the best. Go watch Honey Boy, watch Peanut Butter Falcon. He's one of the best actors.
No way. No.
Yeah, he would have killed it.
He's not right for that role. He's
now
not.
This is coming off of Fury, because he worked with the director and was it not Fury? It was the Fury.
No, that was God, I forgot her name. Oh my God.
Shia he did 2 military movies. So coming off of whatever the military one that he did with this director which is why he thought that Shia would have been perfect for this character. He actually wrote it for Shia. And Warner Brothers said no because of his reputation.
What exactly is his reputation?
He has a lot of antics and gets arrested often.
Drunk.
I
think he had been out of rehab at that point.
That's what I want.
Yeah. No. Do you have Bruce? Do you have Amazon? Do you have Amazon Prime?
I might
watch Honey Boy immediately, especially with your with your degree. Watch Honey Boy.
Oh yeah,
right.
please watch it.
I will watch Honey Boy. All right, I will give you that one.
Honey Boy is it's difficult to say this now that every movie's been canceled, but that would have been the number 1 movie of the year. At least top 5.
Hard to debate that.
I guess this is where I'm going. The last movie I saw Shia LaBeouf in that I actually legitimately liked was Lawless. That was the last thing that I actually liked.
That was a good movie too.
Yeah. Lawless was good.
Yeah.
That was
good.
It
was an excellent movie. But again, that is a role I can see for him. I can see him as the younger brother. I can see him, and no disrespect to Shia LaBeouf as a person. I'm sorry, but I saw him as second banana to Tom Hardy. That's how I saw him in that movie. I can't see him as a militant leader. I just can't.
He's done so many military roles at this point. And he's done like 4. Man Down didn't make a lot of money. Not a lot of people saw it. I've talked about it on the podcast, Bruce. I watched that. I've seen the film twice. The first time I watched it, literally when the credits rolled, I sat on the couch and cried like a bitch for 2 hours. Dog, like when I swear to God, for 2 hours I sat on the couch, the TV went to sleep, the lights were off, I was in pitch black crying. The movie was so good.
Where can I find that one?
It's on Hulu.
Oh, I'm gonna watch that.
I look, that movie was just, and Gary Oldman was in it, and Jai Courtney was also in that, by the way. Jai Courtney was in that, and Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman is phenomenal.
All right, so Joaquin Phoenix, the Joker. Bruce, we haven't discussed the Joker, you and I, because you bailed on me and went to Boston. But the
great
Joker,
city, by the way.
Joker, how do you guys feel about Joaquin Phoenix?
I'm gonna be honest, when I first heard that they were coming out with that movie, and casting him as Joker, I was pissed.
Not to mention Todd Phillips from The Hangover writing and directing.
I was royally pissed because Batman is my favorite superhero. Joker is my ultimate villain. That's my favorite villain.
Oh yeah.
And honestly, I was pissed that they did that. When I saw the movie, oh my God, that Joaquin Phoenix, man. I forgot the name of the disorder that they said that he had.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that too. That the name was different, but I forgot the name of the disorder that they said that he had in that movie. But that was one of those things, just like what you said with Christopher Nolan basing the universe in reality. That's what they did with this as well, and the disorder they gave him made sense as to why. Yeah, it made sense.
Yes, I thought that was brilliant. It's a variation of Tourette syndrome, is what it is.
Oh,
it's associated with a borderline unstoppable tick, and essentially what happens when someone has Tourette syndrome, because a lot of people, there's a lot of misinformation because all they think of is like the South Park episode where Cartman uses it as an excuse to sing. And more often than not,
I love that show, man.
I do too. I gotta give it to them. It's so hilarious. But in all seriousness, what it's typically associated with, a lot of times it's associated with something that you almost wouldn't even know. And I actually worked with a guy my job before I actually worked at the hospital with LJ. I had a guy who had a tattoo on his arm that said Twitch. And it's because, and him and his buddy both had Tourette syndrome. And it's because every so often he would go like, it was just like a little quiver with his head. And more often than not, Tourette syndrome is associated with something like that. That's gonna, cause you to do something, because what happens when they actually try to stop it, if they were to try to prevent the behavior, it causes them very similar discomfort as you would see as someone going through withdrawal. Their brain wants something that your body isn't getting. And what drives behavior. And for a lot of them, it's easier to try to learn how to dissipate, cut back on the behavior rather than eliminating the behavior altogether. But as a rule, it'll be like something small, kind of like usually like a twitch is usually what it's more associated with. But it can be with something as severe as yelling something.
Wow,
what it is. But that, I thought that added to it, that he can't control his laughter. I thought that was brilliant. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. In addition, I love the role on a number of levels. I love the role as a comic book fan. I love the role as a Joker origin story. I love the role I loved the acting. I loved the depiction of the character. I loved everything about it. But I gotta say, my favorite aspect of it wasn't even with the acting or the storyline or any of it. My favorite part of it was I can take that Joker that could very realistically be the origin story of Heath Ledger's Joker. Those stories could line up.
Yes.
And that to me was just, I got hair sticking up on the back of my neck as we speak, just talking about that, because to me, that was the finality that, God bless his soul, was never given when, God bless him and his whole family, Heath Ledger, untimely death. Because he was supposed to be in the third movie. He was supposed to be in The Dark Knight Rises, because the whole aspect of Bane breaking all the prisoners out of Blackgate was supposed to be a whole team. You were supposed to have the Riddler. You were supposed to have, Black Mask, the Scarecrow, all these different villains. You could have incorporated all of these. And, God bless him, when he passed away, there was kind of like this up in limbo thing, like, oh, well, what do? We can still do the Bane thing, but you kind of got that more generic Blackgate prisoner like you would see in the video game, where it's just some guy wearing an orange jumpsuit, And you got Scarecrow in that film as well, but.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And I think,
Joker film.
Yeah. Great. And I think if you watch Joker, you need to watch The King of Comedy. And I think you'll appreciate Joker significantly more if you watch The King of Comedy.
And the addition of De Niro in Joker.
And honestly, I thought De Niro, they really could have written it where, they connected the films. Because De Niro's character was essentially the same one that he had in King of Comedy. They could have done that, and it would have passed the torch on down to Arthur. That would have been phenomenal.
Tell me though, that scene where De Niro is interviewing Arthur Fleck is not one of the best scenes in cinematic history. I was on the edge of my seat, but also let me add that I gravitate towards indie films more so than big blockbuster films, which this became a blockbuster film, but at its heart, it's an indie film, and that scene is a perfect example of the indie aspect of it, and that I loved it.
No, I can't disagree.
For me, just as a pure DC fan, hardcore Joker fan, to me, the coup de grace, if you will, was at the very end where he takes the blood on his face from the car accident and just the Joker smile. To me, I was like,
Yo, I had chills. Watching that movie.
Now, here's the thing. DC's trash. So, Joker, the film. Joker, the film, is not a DCEU film. It is a Warner Brothers film.
It's a standalone.
That's it. But with the success of it, they're trying to bring it into the DCEU. Now they're saying that Arthur Fleck is not the Joker. However, Arthur Fleck will inspire the Joker that will be the villain for the Robert Pattinson film.
And see, that's where they're going to mess it up.
And that's how they're going to screw this up. See, we would wonder. We wonder how they do this because we only see the finished product, but now we actually get to see the thought process. Oh, this is how they're going to screw this up.
Yeah. You have all this promise. Hey, shoot it down.
DC, you have your first huge Batman success in years. Let it go. Just let it go.
Honestly,
what masterpiece it is.
I would be perfect with them just not bringing the cast back and just leaving it as is. But if you're going to add a sequel,
I don't want a sequel. By the way, I don't want a sequel.
I don't want to either. But if you're going to do it, just leave Arthur Fleck as a Joker. Like, please, the disorder, the mannerisms, the darkness. Like, you literally saw his innocence aspect almost like just dissipate throughout the film. It was robbed from him, yeah. And it was a phenomenal transition. I want if you're going to incorporate this Joker into the DCEU, leave it alone. Just leave it as Joaquin Phoenix as Joker, and let us have that. I'm fine with that. I would be perfectly good with seeing Joaquin Phoenix and Robert Pattinson, which I don't trust Robert Pattinson too much, but it is what it is. Whatever, let it go. I would love to see them together. I would love to see it. But who's that one gonna? Who's his?
That truly wouldn't make sense though, with Robert Pattinson's young age. And
it wouldn't, and that's why I was saying, like, if you had Ben Affleck come back as Batman and you brought that Joker in, because now we're not gonna have Jared Leto.
No. You couldn't do that. You would have to do the Robert Pattinson Batman, because remember, in the Joker,
he has a kid.
Bruce Wayne.
That's true.
That actually works.
That is true. Yes. Yeah.
That
is very
the timeline of it though. This takes place in the 70s. He's 10 years old. Robert Pattinson's Batman, they're saying, is like 28. Doesn't connect. They can make it work, but it doesn't connect because the Joker takes place in 70. Can't remember. Did they say an exact year? It's the 70s.
It was late 70s.
And he's supposed to be like 10.
Well, I mean, you fast forward time. Isn't he in jail at the end of the movie? So, he breaks out. Whatever. Yeah.
You wouldn't get it.
I either way, I'm gonna watch. But
yeah. Now, whether or not Joker is connected with the Batman, or whatever future iteration that includes Joker. The rumor is that Johnny Depp is in talks to play the Joker. React.
Performance-wise, it would be phenomenal. I would love to see it performance-wise. But I don't know, man. I think I'm just tired of seeing so many Jokers within a short amount of time.
Yeah.
I want to see. What about Spider-Man?
We've seen 3 Spider-Mans in the last 15 years.
That's because they messed up. Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man. He's the best Spider-Man Peter Parker we've had.
Love them.
I love him too.
Tobey Maguire is nostalgic.
Tobey Maguire is he's my favorite.
He's nostalgic.
Tell me Spider-Man 2 is not top 5 superhero film of all time.
It's not.
Fuck that.
There you go.
It is.
There you go. Very easy.
Looking at that trilogy, the first one is my favorite, but I'm a big Green Goblin and the Joker are 2 of the same for me. Joker's my favorite DC villain. Green Goblin's my favorite Marvel villain. And Willem Dafoe was wonderful as Green Goblin, and that movie to me is virtually perfect. And that is my favorite superhero film. Call it nostalgia, whatever you want. I don't know. That was my first I watched the cartoons and stuff, but that was my first live action superhero film that I had ever seen, and that was amazing. Now back to Johnny Depp. Could he do a good job? He could do a great job. He could do a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
He can play any role, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
no limits.
I'm seeing, and I saw y'all's face, but you guys didn't seem so excited. I think it could be really done well with, if we keep Matt Reeves as director, it can go well.
I have no trust. I'm sorry. DC has
But
abused
let's
me
remember,
many times,
Derek.
bro.
I keep
sorry.
reminding you. J.J. Abrams and James Gunn are in charge of the DCEU from here on out.
I couldn't care less. DC has abused me way too many times for me to want to actually like sit here and believe that this is gonna work.
And Bruce, tell me what's true of abusers. They have a hard time running away, or those abused. They have a hard time running away from those who abuse them. So, Derek, you're gonna be right there.
I'm going to go see the movies. That's what I'm saying. It's an abusive relationship. It's an abusive relationship. I'm going to go see the movies, but doesn't mean I trust them.
DC has smacked me around, called me the worst names it can think of. But guess what? At 3 a.m., guess who's sitting there with Batman's film in his hand?
Yeah.
At 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, you text me, are you up? Yes, I am.
Before we do our top 3 Jokers, let's do this. Johnny Depp's not confirmed. What's 1 or 2 actors that you guys would like to see play the Joker? I'll go first with saying Jake Gyllenhaal or Matt Smith. Those are my 2.
Which one's Matt Smith?
Matt Smith, he was in Doctor Who. He is also going to be in Morbius.
Oh,
I'll look that up. I'll let you know what I think. No, in all seriousness, I've been a huge proponent for Willem Dafoe since.
Oh yeah.
I think since I was in high school.
That's my number 1. I didn't say him because he's already in the DCEU. He's already in the DCEU. That's why I didn't say him. He was in Aquaman.
That's
right.
That's why I didn't say him.
Damn.
Otherwise, he would have been my number 1.
I forgot all about that, man.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah, that's the top name that comes to me.
Telling you, DC just messes things up.
When they put the makeup on him, I was like, oh my god, that is Joker, and he's nuts.
And that was before Heath Ledger was casted, right?
It might have been, actually. It could have been before 2008. Yeah, I think I was in high school, so yeah, it could have been.
Yeah, I think so, because I remember when they were talking about casting for him, I said the same thing. Willem Dafoe was an absolute perfect choice. Perfect. Yeah. That's the Arkham Asylum Joker-ish. Yeah, I would love to see it. I would love to see it. My ideal casting for Joker, I'm gonna say Cameron Monaghan, man. I'm gonna say him. I'm gonna say him. I think he'd do well. Yeah.
I still think. I mean, Gyllenhaal
is actually a really good idea too.
Gyllenhaal, he has been able to play like so many different like roles. Like I think back to his performance in Nightcrawler. I don't know if you guys saw
Nightcrawler was.
That was probably the first time I'd said he should play the Joker.
Mm-hmm. He had the demeanor. I agree with that.
I think he would. I think he would be perfect.
Netflix.
LJ, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and just send me a text of all these movies.
Now they went to Gyllenhaal. They went to Gyllenhaal for Heath Ledger's Joker, and he turned it down. He auditioned for Heath Ledger's Joker, but I know they offered before Jared Leto. They offered it to Gyllenhaal, and he turned it down because he didn't want to do a multi-picture deal. Which presumably he probably did with Marvel. So.
I was about to say he's technically already in one, so that's why I don't know.
I mean, not necessarily, but we didn't see him die. So.
He's gonna be in Sinister Six. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah,
he's coming back.
It wouldn't be the first time someone double dipped with a Marvel and a DC character.
It wouldn't be the first time. It wouldn't be the first time, but at the same time, I can't see it.
Look, I mean, I think he would be incredible, but I think Johnny Depp would do a great job, and I think after all this bullshit with Amber Heard that has happened, I think he deserves it.
Yeah,
because there's no way Amber Heard's returning for Aquaman 2.
Nope. No, she screwed herself over with that.
And that makes me want him in it even more, because that's just funny to me.
Yeah.
That we're gonna kick Amber Heard out of the DCEU and put in Johnny Depp. That's
that'd be phenomenal.
All right, so top threes. I'll let y'all go. I'll go last. Bruce, you want to go first since you got the Joker ink?
Sure. All right, let's see. Top three. If we're only doing live action.
Only live action. You want to go 3, 2, 1, or 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, I'll do 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. I'd have to give it to. I think I have to go Cesar Romero for 3.
Okay.
I just think that with everything he was given, just based on pure percentages, I think he just did it right. For his time, he nailed the Silver Age for Joker. That was on the money. For second, I have to give it to Joaquin Phoenix. I thought his depiction of the Joker in that was just out of this world. It just his laugh, everything. I thought he nailed it, and it's all probably most of my putting him in second place leads up to, and I have nothing but respect for the kid from Gotham. Don't think I forgot about him. He's excellent. Don't get me wrong. But where they went with the twins, it's just I feel like there was a lot of things that they depicted with it that was just going. It's not. It didn't work. But his acting and his portrayal of the Joker was excellent. And I mostly put Joaquin Phoenix in second because I truly do see him as the prequel to the Dark Knight film, and Heath Ledger was just the best Joker I've ever seen on film.
I agree with that. So going from 3, I'm actually putting Jared Leto at 3. Yeah. The mannerisms, the laugh, the portrayal, the darkness, everything that he brought to that character, even though it was a small amount of time we saw him on screen, it was enough for me to sit there and say, you know what? He could rival Heath Ledger. Like I was literally sitting in the theater thinking that, like, oh my God, he's close. Just like, and I wanted to see more. I think if they're coming out with the Snyder Cut for Justice League, I want to see Jared Leto's. I don't care if all we see are just cuts. I don't care.
If it makes sense.
I don't care. Give me just give me the director's cut. just put the extras on a disc and mail it to me. I'll watch it. That's all I want.
I would too.
That's all I want.
I would too. Absolutely. Yep.
Because whether people like to give him credit or not, I thought the tattoos made sense in the fact that when he put his hand over his mouth, it was reminiscent to the cartoon. It was reminiscent of Mark Hamill's version. So for me, that meant a lot. That just so much thought went into it. Was it weird with the I guess the gang affiliation and stuff like that? Okay, whatever. You can pick if you want. But in terms of portrayal, he's number 3. Not Jared Leto. Joaquin Phoenix, hands down, number 2. That until I saw that, I was kind of convinced Jared Leto was 2. I honestly was. But when I saw the movie, when I saw Joker, that made me put Joaquin Phoenix there because the originality to give me a story of where his laugh came from meant the world to me. That was just phenomenal. I thought that was, there was so much detail that went into that character. I don't want to see a sequel because I don't want to see that messed up. I want to see Joker as Joker, leave it at that. And of course, number 1, Heath Ledger. Hands down. Hands down. I mean,
that's my list to the T. Jared Leto 3, Joaquin Phoenix 2, and Heath Ledger 1. I mean, that's my list. And honestly, and some people say that everybody puts Heath Ledger at 1 because he passed away. And God rest his soul, he's just phenomenal. He's just the best to do it. It's nothing to do with his death.
He brought that dark factor to the character that we had not seen. The darkest Joker we saw up to that point was the animated series Joker, and that's because they colored it dark. I mean that was perfect. So I would love, you have to give Jared Leto that. I mean Heath Ledger that, because he's now turned the conversation and how people study for the role.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we've been sitting here giving flowers to the live action Joker, so we need to give some flowers to the animation. So let's each of us give our number one favorite animated Joker appearance. Mine was Batman Beyond, the film.
Really?
Ooh, Return of the Joker.
That was good.
I fell in love with the Joker from there. I'd seen the Batman animated series, of course, but Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker is still it's still my everything. Like in terms of animated.
I still work out to that, Sam. I'll go down to the workout room. I'll do some push-ups and stuff like that to that film.
Yeah.
Love that movie. Excellent film.
I forgot about that one.
So what about you guys? What's your favorite animated Joker appearance?
Yeah, Derrick.
Batman animated series. I mean, that was my introduction to Joker. That was my introduction to Batman. I had a Batman book bag when I was in pre-K. Like, I still remember that book. That was beautiful, man. I love that, man. And Joker, Mark Hamill, to me, he's the GOAT. That's just, man, there's nothing else I could say about Joker, man. That was my favorite portrayal, animated portrayal. Yeah.
For me, I technically have two, but I have a reason for this. My number one of all time, this is what I grew up with. Even now, watching it as an adult, it's still my all-time favorite. Is Batman: Mask of the Phantasm, and it's Mark Hamill as Joker. If you haven't seen it, it's remarkable. It's one of my all-time favorites. I still watch it. It still gives me the same feeling I did when I was a kid. It brings me back to when I was a kid. Love the animated series, but that movie captured it for me. Yeah. I do have a kind of like a 1A, if you will. I have to give tutelage to Troy Baker's depiction of the Joker in Arkham Origins, the video game, as well as as well as what was it? It was Suicide Squad, Assault on Arkham was a cartoon.
That was
seen it?
Really good.
You gotta see it. Troy Baker's depiction of the Joker. I never thought I would ever hear a voice other than Mark Hamill that I liked for the Joker, and he was incredible. His laugh is bone chilling.
Yes,
it's just absolutely phenomenal. Troy Baker is excellent, and if I didn't grow up with Mark Hamill, Troy Baker might have been my favorite, but just Mark Hamill is. Like you said, he's the GOAT, man. You kidding me? He is the Joker. His laugh, that is the Joker's laugh.
Yeah.
You guys don't watch Flash, but Mark Hamill played a Flash villain on 2 or 3 episodes of The Flash, and it is quite reminiscent of the Joker. And that was beautiful. I'll send you guys some clips. I'm going to look it up because I can't remember who he played in it. It is a comic book. Like it wasn't created for the show, as far as I know. I believe he was in the comic books, but it was very, very reminiscent of the Joker, and I just loved seeing him be a part of it. So I'm just looking it up real quick because I wanna tell you guys. I'll send you the clips just because I think you guys would appreciate it. Let's see. You guys talk while I look for it.
Oh.
I found it. The Trickster. The Trickster.
The Trickster.
Yes.
He did 3 episodes as the Tricksters, and for somebody like Mark Hamill to go and do the Flash is just fanfare, and
I'm about to check that out.
The fans would love it, and of course the DC TV, they can't do something like the Joker. And honestly, if we go look at Arrow in season 2 had started to introduce the Suicide Squad. They had done about 8 episodes introducing members of the Suicide Squad. One character that they didn't officially give a name, but was Harley Quinn. And that would have been the real first appearance, like live action appearance. But then they decided to do the film, and they wouldn't allow Arrow to continue that story arc. So they gave it a different name, and Deadshot was the leader of this group, but it wasn't Suicide Squad, and it wasn't Harley Quinn and all of that. But yeah.
Wow.
What's that look?
I mean, that would have been the perfect opportunity to kind of incorporate the series into the film.
That was the look of DC found a way to screw it again.
They did. Like that was
that look. I know that look.
opportunity, man. it's me sitting there thinking, yeah, it's me being abused again, man. Like
they wanted superstars. They wanted superstars to play these characters, and superstars aren't.
But what I'm saying is that
CW show.
They could have brought the TV characters to the film to incorporate them and then put them back on TV so that it could grow.
Now, in the crossover in this year's not Elseworlds, in this year's Crisis crossover, Crisis on Infinite Earths, they did bring Grant Gustin's Flash face to face with Ezra Miller's Flash.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
They did.
I did read about that.
Which was interesting.
I like
We're gonna have to do another episode and have you back, Bruce, where we discuss Lex Luthor's, because you should have seen Derrick's reaction when I told him the dude from 2.5 Men currently plays Lex Luthor.
Bro, I'm telling you right now, John Cryer.
Cryer.
I love John Cryer. I love him. But that man's voice is too high pitched to be playing Lex Luthor.
He's already been a Luthor. He was Lenny Luthor in Superman 3 or 4, whatever it was.
I don't care. He does not. Lex Luthor. He's got the look in terms of being a bald white man. That is it. When I look at Lex Luthor, I look at Rosenbaum. That
number one.
That's Luthor right there.
Have you seen John Cryer as Lex Luthor, Bruce?
I have not. No.
You're
I'm
not
gonna show you a picture.
You're not missing anything.
Now, the only thing about Crisis on Infinite Earths was they did bring, like Derrick, you know this, but Bruce, they entered Smallville universe. Okay, so we saw Tom Welling as Clark Kent. We saw Erica Durnance, I think is how you say her name, as Lois. And they were going to try to get his help. However, so John Cryer's Lex Luthor was going around to all the different universes and killing Supermen. That's what he was doing. Now, Michael Rosenbaum turned down the opportunity to return because of they didn't give him any story. They wouldn't tell him storyline. They wouldn't give him pages. There wasn't a lot of money, and it was like a couple days later, and so he turned it down. Understandably. And so essentially the storyline, which if you've seen Smallville, this makes sense of that Clark Kent, but Bruce, that Clark Kent, come to find out, they didn't really explain how they did it, but he found a way to get rid of his powers. So he was just a regular human being. Oh, wow. And so Lex let him live, essentially, because he
wasn't a threat.
He wasn't a threat, but he could also beat the shit out of him, and he did punch him in the face. But
I see 2.5 Men with a beard.
Yeah, I need to.
It's like looking at him being disappointed in Charlie Sheen or something. That's not Lex Luthor, man. I need a menacing.
That's not an evil genius.
Yeah, I need that calculated like look. I need
someone that's so intelligent that you actually fear them.
You fear him, yes. That guy I could just pluck away. I could pluck him away, man. No.
I'll say his performance is not bad by any means. Bruce, you don't went sideways, dog. I don't know why you went sideways. Did we lose him?
Probably. Yeah, I think so.
All right. Well, we will end it here
Yeah.
because we lost our guest. So
That's the same way Lex Luthor, John Crye's Lex Luthor can just go away. I love John Cryer though. Love him.
Yeah, and honestly, like his performance isn't bad. It's not the worst Lex I've seen.
No,
it's his appearance. His appearance.
Kevin Costner is the worst. I mean, not Kevin Costner. Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
Worst Lex Luthor ever.
Yeah. And let me say it, Brandon Routh's Superman was better than Henry Cavill's.
Wow.
Yeah. I watched Man of Steel maybe 6 months ago. I watched Man of Steel and I watched Superman Returns back to back. And I enjoyed Brandon Routh's more.
I enjoy Henry Cavill's more because Brandon Routh's was horrible.
You got bad opinions.
I do.
All right. This has been another episode of Realist. Thank y'all so much for tuning in and listening. This was another long-ass episode. I apologize, but it was fun. Bruce is gone. I don't know where he went, but he's gone. He was sucked down the golf hole like Michael Jordan in Space Jam. He is gone. But this has been another episode. Bruce, thank you so much for joining. And Derrick, I love you, dude.
Love you too, bro.
Next week. We'll see you guys then. Peace.
Great episode.